unaware that his poor, abandoned ex was now married to a billionaire. Daniel kicked her out of the shopping center like trash, but the way she looked at him in that moment wasn't the face of a beggar. It was the face of a woman hiding a powerful secret. Shoppers froze. Phones rose. His rich girlfriend laughed. Emily, the ex he once dumped when she had nothing, stood there shaking, clutching a small medicine bag, humiliated in public. But instead of crying, she slowly lifted her eyes and met his. That look. It wasn't pain alone. It wasn't anger either. It was pity. Daniel didn't know this. Poor woman he kicked at the shopping center was now someone else entirely. Didn't know a billionaire was waiting for her outside. He didn't know today would destroy his pride forever. And as a black luxury car rolled to a stop behind her, one question burned in the air. Who is Emily really now? Why didn't she fight back? And what will happen when Daniel discovers the truth about the woman he just kicked out? Daniel's hand shot forward before his brain caught up with his anger. The shove was hard too hard. Emily stumbled backward and crashed into a rack of summer dresses. Hangers clattered loudly across the polished floor. A child gasped. A woman covered her mouth. Phones came out in seconds. Get out of here, beggar. Daniel snapped. You always loved embarrassing me. His voice carried authority, the confidence of a man who now drove luxury cars, wore designer watches, and had clawed his way up from poverty into the world of flashy success. The mall knew him. Sales staff greeted him by name. He spent recklessly to remind himself he had made it. Emily didn't cry, didn't scream. She simply stared at him. That stare dragged Daniel backward in time. A tiny one-room apartment, flickering light. Emily sitting on the bed holding a pregnancy test with shaking hands. I'm pregnant, Daniel. Back then, he was broke, bitter, drowning in debt. His phone never stopped buzzing with creditors. He remembered laughing cruelly. With what money? He had scoffed. You want to trap me? The memory twisted his chest and turned into anger. You still like playing victim, he said now. 5 years later and you're still the same. Emily pushed herself up slowly. Her knees trembled, but she forced herself steady. I'm just here to buy medicine, she whispered. That's all. Daniel scoffed. Medicine? Or are you here to beg? You always had excuses. Vanessa laughed beside him. She was tall, glamorous, wrapped in designer clothes. The kind of woman who posted champagne photos online. The kind Daniel dated now to prove he was no longer poor. She probably followed you, Vanessa sneered. These desperate women never change. Emily shook her head. I didn't know you'd be here. Hearing his name from her lips cracked something inside him. Stop pretending, he barked. You ruined my life once. I won't let you do it again. People whispered. Isn't that his ex? He just pushed her. That's cruel. A security guard started approaching. Daniel quickly pulled out his VIP card. I'm a premium customer. The guard hesitated, then stepped back. Emily noticed her shoulders slumped, not from pain, but from disappointment. A familiar disappointment she had carried for years. Her phone vibrated in her pocket. She glanced quickly, then locked it. Foreshadowing flickered in her eyes like she already knew something Daniel didn't. Who's texting you? Vanessa mocked. Emily didn't answer. She bent and picked up the fallen hangers carefully, placing them back in order. That quiet dignity made Daniel angrier. You always did this, he snapped. Acting strong when you're weak. She froze. 5 years ago, she whispered. You never came back. His jaw clenched. Because you lied, he shot back. You said you lost the baby. Her lips parted. Words trembled there, but she said nothing. Silence screamed between them. You never even checked, she finally said softly. She turned and walked toward the pharmacy. As she moved, her sleeve slipped slightly. A diamond ring glinted. A woman whispered, That's real diamond. Emily quickly pulled her sleeve down. Daniel never noticed. But destiny had already begun to move. Daniel stood outside the pharmacy pretending to scroll his phone. But his eyes never left Emily through the glass. He told himself he didn't care, that she was nothing. Yet his chest felt tight, the same tightness he used to feel when he watched her sleep beside him on their old mattress on the floor. Vanessa nudged him. Why are you staring? You look guilty. I'm not, he snapped. She's just annoying. But his mind betrayed him. He remembered the night he packed his bag. Emily stood in the doorway, holding her stomach. Please don't go, She whispered. We can struggle together. He had laughed. Bitter, broken, ashamed. Struggle is all we've ever done. I'm done being poor. That night, he didn't look back. Now, 5 years later, he wore a gold watch and designer shoes. He owned a car dealership. People respected him. He had climbed out of poverty with his bare hands. Or so he told himself. Vanessa smiled proudly. You see, you're winning in life. You didn't end up like her. Her words fed his ego. But inside the pharmacy, Emily stood quietly at the counter, counting coins in her palm. The cashier looked at her kindly. It's enough, the cashier said softly. Emily exhaled in relief. Foreshadowing flickered again, the way she handled money carefully. Like someone who once knew hunger but now chose humility. Not because she had nothing, but because she remembered what it felt like. Her phone buzzed again. This time she answered quietly. Yes, I've got it. No, I'm fine. He didn't see you. Okay, I'll be out soon. She ended the call quickly. The camera would linger on her hand, the diamond ring glinting again, but she turned it inward, hiding it like a secret. Outside, Daniel noticed the luxury SUV across the street. Black, polished, engine humming softly. A driver stood beside it, straight-backed. He frowned. What kind of car is that? Vanessa glanced. Probably some rich man's ride. Daniel shrugged, but something unsettled him. The driver checked his watch, then looked toward the pharmacy entrance. Why was he waiting? Foreshadowing planted. Inside, Emily paid and collected her medicine. As she turned to leave, her reflection caught her eye in the glass. She remembered another reflection. Hospital mirror. Pale face. Four in her arm. A nurse adjusting the drip. Where is my husband? Emily had asked weakly. The nurse hesitated. He didn't come back. Her heart broke quietly that day. Back in the present, Emily swallowed and straightened her shoulders. She stepped outside. Daniel scoffed when he saw her. Done begging. She didn't answer. The driver opened the car door slightly, then paused. Waiting. Daniel watched. Confused. Vanessa whispered, Why is that driver staring at her? Emily walked toward them, not to Daniel, but past him, straight toward the black SUV. Daniel laughed nervously. Don't tell me she's about to beg that man to. But the driver bowed slightly. Madam, he said respectfully. Daniel froze. Daniel's laughter died in his throat the moment the driver bowed. Madam, the man said again. His tone respectful, almost reverent. Emily stopped. For a second, she looked unsure, not afraid, just cautious. Like someone who had learned not to draw attention to herself in public. Then she nodded slightly. Yes, she replied. The driver opened the door wider. Inside, the leather seats gleamed. The interior smelled expensive, the kind of scent Daniel only experienced when customers bought new cars from his dealership. Vanessa's eyes widened. Wait, is that car for you? Emily didn't answer. She glanced back once at Daniel. That look again, not anger. Not revenge, but quiet sadness. I hope you find peace, she said softly. Daniel scoffed. Stop acting holy. Who are you fooling? That man probably thinks you're poor. Emily almost smiled. She turned away and stepped toward the car. The driver leaned closer. Sir is asking if you're okay. I'm fine, she replied. Let's go. Daniel's heart pounded. Who was Sir? Vanessa whispered. This is getting weird. As Emily lowered herself into the seat, a memory hit Daniel hard. The night she went into labor, he had been drunk, angry, blaming her for his failures. I can't be a father, he had shouted. I don't even have money for myself. She cried, begged, held his arm. Just come with me to the hospital. He pulled free. Handle it yourself. Now he watched her disappear into a luxury car and something inside him twisted painfully. The door didn't close. Someone else was inside. Man's hand appeared first. Well manicured. Gold cufflink flashed briefly. Then the man stepped out. Tall, composed, gray suit, quiet authority. People nearby gasped. Isn't that Mr. Carter, the billionaire investor? He owns half the city. Daniel's face drained of color. Carter looked at Emily with concern. Did everything go well? Yes, she said. Thank you for waiting. He smiled, not the fake smile of rich men, but something warm, personal. Of course. I promise. Daniel staggered slightly. Vanessa whispered, Daniel, That's not normal. Mr. Carter turned and noticed Daniel staring. Do you know him? He asked Emily. Her lips parted, then closed again. Yes, she said. A long time ago. Mr. Carter nodded slowly. You look upset, he said to Daniel calmly. Is there a problem? Daniel's throat felt dry. No, he lied. No problem. Emily stepped closer to Mr. Carter and slipped her hand into his. The diamond ring flashed. Clearly this time. My husband, she said softly. Silence. Exploded. Vanessa dropped her bag. Husband. Daniel's knees nearly gave out. You married him, he whispered. Carter looked at him sharply. You're the ex. Daniel swallowed. Emily lowered her head. I didn't want drama, she said quietly. That's why I didn't tell you. Mr. Carter squeezed her hand gently. Daniel felt his world crumble. Daniel felt the ground shift beneath his feet. Like everything he built was suddenly fake. His mouth opened, but no words came out. 5 years of pride, of showing the world he had made it, shattered in seconds. You're married, he stammered again, his voice barely audible. Emily didn't answer immediately. She looked down at their joined hands, then back at Daniel. The same man who once called her a burden. The same man who walked away when she needed him most. Yes, she said softly. I am. Vanessa snapped. This is a joke, right? You expect us to believe she married a billionaire. Mr. Carter's gaze shifted slowly to Vanessa. Calm, but intimidating. Is there something funny about marriage? Vanessa swallowed. And no, he ignored her and turned back to Daniel. You look shocked. Did you expect her life to stop after you left? Daniel flinched. Memories crashed into him. Emily washing clothes by hand. Emily skipping meals so he could eat. Emily smiling even when rent was overdue. He remembered her whispering one night, I believe in you. He never believed in her. Why? He blurted. Why him? Emily inhaled deeply. Flashback flooded her mind. A hospital room. Her newborn son crying. Bills stacking on a chair. Carter standing awkwardly at the door, holding a file. I run a foundation, he said gently. The nurse told me your story. I lost my wife during childbirth. I know pain. He paid her hospital bills that day. Not because he wanted her, but because he understood loss. Back in the present, Emily said quietly, he helped me when you disappeared. Mr. Carter nodded. I didn't come to take her. I came to support her. Daniel's face burned with shame. Vanessa scoffed. Support turned into marriage. Mr. Carter's eyes darkened slightly. Love grows where kindness lives. Emily squeezed his hand. Daniel's heart thumped wildly. So, you just forgot about me. Emily's voice trembled. I didn't forget. I healed. Silence wrapped them. People gathered closer. Phones recorded. Someone whispered, Karma. Daniel dropped his gaze. He noticed something else. Emily wasn't dressed poor. Her clothes were simple, but clean, elegant, intentional. She chose this look. Why? Foreshadowing planted. Because wealth never healed her wounds. Humility did. Carter turned to Emily. Ethan will be waiting. Daniel's head snapped up. Ethan? Emily froze. Carter realized instantly. Her hand trembled. Daniel whispered, Who is Ethan? Emily closed her eyes. He's my son. Daniel's chest exploded. My son. Tears blurred his vision. Vanessa gasped. You had a child. Emily nodded slowly. I told you I was pregnant. Daniel felt like throwing up. Why didn't you tell me he survived? Her eyes filled. You never asked. Silence struck like lightning. Carter placed a protective hand on her shoulder. Let's go. But destiny wasn't done yet. A small voice echoed. Mummy. Daniel turned. A little boy was running toward Emily from the car. Mummy. The small boy ran straight into Emily's arms. She knelt instantly, forgetting everyone around her, and wrapped him tightly. Ethan. Baby, slow down. Daniel stared in shock. The child had his eyes, the same sharp jawline, the same dimple when he smiled. Blood didn't lie. Vanessa whispered, Oh my God. Ethan looked up innocently. Why are there so many people? Emily brushed his curls gently. It's okay. Go sit in the car with Uncle James. The driver smiled kindly. Come on, champ. Ethan waved. Bye, Mummy. Daniel couldn't breathe. That's my son, he whispered. Carter turned to him calmly. Biologically, yes. But I've raised him. Daniel's knees weakened. You raised him. Flashback slammed into Emily's mind. Night shifts at a diner. Holding Ethan with one arm while cleaning tables. Customers throwing coins without looking. She remembered the night. Ethan got sick. High fever. No money. Hospital refused treatment. She ran through rain, carrying him. Crying. That was when Mr. Carter appeared again. My foundation can help, he said quietly. He flew them abroad, paid for surgery, saved Ethan's life. She cried in the hospital hallway, holding his hands. You don't have to do this, he replied softly. I lost a child once. I won't lose another. That was the day her life changed. Back in the present, Emily said, he didn't just help us. He became our family. Mr. Carter added, Ethan calls me Dad. Because love isn't DNA. Daniel's face crumpled. You let another man raise my son. Emily's voice shook. You left us to survive alone. Silence fell. Daniel remembered the day he heard a rumor. Your ex lost the baby. Someone told him. He never checked. He wanted to believe it. Because the truth scared him. I didn't know, he whispered. Emily replied, you didn't want to know. Tears streamed down his face. Vanessa stepped back slowly, disturbed. This is too much. Emily straightened. I didn't come here to expose you. I came for medicine. Mr. Carter squeezed her hand. We should go? Daniel panicked. Wait, Emily. She stopped. He walked closer. Can I see him again? Her eyes softened. That depends. On what? On whether you become a man he deserves. Mr. Carter nodded approvingly. Daniel looked at Ethan laughing inside the car. Regret crushed him. He lost them. Not because he was poor, but because he was cruel. Emily turned away. Foreshadowing whispered through her. Silence. This wasn't the end. This was the beginning. Daniel stood frozen as the black SUV door closed softly, the sound echoing like a final goodbye. Emily's words still rang in his ears. Become a man he deserves. It felt heavier than any insult she could have thrown at him. Vanessa grabbed his arm. Daniel, let's go. This is embarrassing. He pulled away. Don't touch me. She stared at him. What? You laughed when I pushed her. He snapped. You didn't stop me. Vanessa scoffed. Because she deserved it. She lied to you. Daniel shook his head slowly. No, I lied to myself. Memories assaulted him. Emily. Cooking with borrowed ingredients. Emily. Walking miles to save transport money. Emily. Whispering prayers for his success. He remembered her last message years ago. I'm in the hospital. Please come. He never replied. Back then, he had just gotten his first business deal. He told himself he was too busy. But the truth was simpler. He didn't want responsibility. Guilt swallowed him now. Vanessa crossed her arms. So what? You feel sorry. You can't change the past. Maybe I can change myself, he said quietly. She laughed bitterly. Don't tell me you want to be a father now. He looked at the SUV disappearing into traffic. I already am. Vanessa scoffed. Then go chase your billionaire wife and child. He stared at her. X. Silence. Her face tightened. So what about me? Daniel didn't answer. Vanessa saw it in his eyes. She picked up her bag angrily. I won't compete with your past. She stormed off. Daniel didn't chase her. He stood alone in the shopping center, the same place he once felt powerful. Now it felt empty. Foreshadowing whispered. This place would become his greatest shame. He remembered something else a man had once told him. Success without character is failure. He laughed then. Now he understood. Across town, inside the moving SUV, Emily watched through the window. Carter spoke gently. Are you okay? She nodded slowly. Seeing him reopen wounds, he squeezed her hand. You don't owe him forgiveness. I know, she whispered. But I don't want hatred inside me. Flashback washed over her. Ethan learning to ride a bike. Carter running behind him, cheering. Her heart finally feeling safe. She whispered, you saved us. He replied softly, you saved yourself. I just supported you. Foreshadowing glimmered again. Their love wasn't built on money. It was built on survival. Ethan looked up from his tablet. Mummy, was that man angry? She forced a smile. He was once part of my past. Is he my real dad? Ethan asked innocently. Her breath caught. Yes, she admitted. But the man driving us is your father in every way that matters. Ethan nodded. Okay, He went back to his game. Carter watched her closely. That conversation will come again, she nodded. I'm ready, she said. But deep inside, she wondered. Was Daniel ready? Daniel wandered aimlessly through the shopping center, his hands buried in his pockets. The crowd blurred around him, voices muffled, phones recording the encounter from a distance. Every laugh, every gasp, felt like a judgment he couldn't escape. He had thought success, money, cars, status would shield him from shame. Now, nothing did. He remembered Emily in their tiny apartment 5 years ago. Rain pounding the tin roof, her bare feet on the cold floor. She had been cooking with scraps of food, her smile strained but genuine. She had asked him once, will you stay with me, even when there's nothing? He had scoffed, angry at the world, angry at himself, and had walked out. And now, here she was. Not begging, not pleading, not broken. A sudden commotion caught his attention. People were gathering around the black SUV parked nearby, phones raised. He pushed through the crowd and froze. Ethan, Emily's son, was laughing in the back seat, a small hand pressed to the glass as he waved goodbye to someone he hadn't even known for long, but loved fiercely. The way he smiled, carefree and bright, made Daniel's chest tighten painfully. Emily leaned forward, talking quietly to the driver. Her profile was striking, calm, poised, yet with a softness that radiated strength. The diamond ring on her finger glinted in the sun, not ostentatiously, but like a quiet announcement. Daniel's eyes followed her every movement. He noticed the small gestures, the way she adjusted Ethan's hair, the way she thanked the driver with a nod, the patience in her tone. Foreshadowing of a life far removed from the desperation he remembered. He remembered the hospital nights. Emily, weak from illness and carrying the weight of a newborn, had faced each challenge alone. There was no Daniel, no support, only determination. He had never considered the possibility that she could survive without him, much less thrive. Vanessa's voice cut sharply through the memory. So what? You're just going to stand there staring. He didn't answer. His mind was elsewhere. A memory surfaced, Emily cradling Ethan as he slept on her chest, whispering lullabies, while she cried silently, wishing Daniel had stayed. She had whispered then, I hope you find happiness, even if it's not with me. Now, 5 years later, she had. Daniel's chest ached. Pride and regret collided inside him. The woman he had abandoned was no longer the girl he could dismiss or hurt. She had been forged by hardship, tempered by love she chose wisely, not by desperation. He stepped closer to the SUV, almost without thinking, and called out softly, Emily. She looked over her shoulder briefly, her eyes soft, but unreadable. Then she turned away again, focusing on Ethan and the driver. That single glance was enough to pierce Daniel, to make him realize the gulf between their lives now. Foreshadowing hinted in her calm composure she had chosen her path carefully, shielded herself, and grown stronger. And yet, a subtle openness in her eyes suggested she wasn't entirely closed to the past. If he could prove he had changed. Carter emerged from the car, tall, commanding, exuding quiet authority. He approached Emily with a gentle touch on her shoulder, the kind of protection that spoke volumes. Daniel realized, with a sinking feeling, that the man had been more than just a helper. He had become the anchor in Emily's life. Daniel swallowed hard. I didn't know. Emily didn't turn. She said softly, almost a whisper, you didn't want to. The words stung more than any insult or shove ever could. Daniel's mind raced. Could he ever make amends? Could he ever bridge the chasm he had created with his own hands? The SUV's engine purred as it started to pull away. Emily held Ethan's hand tightly, and Mr. Carter gave Daniel a brief, assessing glance, a calm but unmistakably warning. Daniel's knees weakened. He realized fully that the life he had imagined for himself without her had been a lie. And now, the woman he had abandoned was untouchable, and tarnished, and untouchingly happy. The crowd began to disperse. Whispers followed him. That's karma, one woman muttered. He lost everything. Daniel remained still, silent, watching the SUV disappear. The echoes of the past and the weight of his mistakes pressed down on him like a storm. He had been the cause of his own downfall, and he knew it. Daniel sat alone on a bench near the fountain, the echo of laughter and footsteps fading into the background. The world seemed to move on around him, But he remained trapped in the memory of Emily, the ex he had abandoned, now walking hand in hand with a billionaire, raising the son that was once his. He remembered the day he left her. The rain had poured in sheets, soaking the thin walls of their tiny apartment. Emily had stood at the doorway, holding his coat, begging him not to go. "Please, Daniel, don't leave me alone." But he had shrugged, swallowed his pride, and walked out. That decision had haunted him in the quiet moments, late at night, when no one was watching. Vanessa's words came back, mocking him. "You really think money will fix everything?" She had stormed off, furious. But Daniel realized now it wasn't just about her. It was about every choice he had made to escape responsibility. Every lie he had believed about himself and about Emily. His phone buzzed in his pocket. He ignored it. It could not be her. She had moved on. She had chosen a life without him, a life of dignity, love, and wealth. The diamond ring on her finger had been a symbol of a world Daniel could never enter, not because of money, but because he had never learned compassion. He looked down and saw his reflection in the fountain. The man staring back was familiar yet foreign. Hands once strong now shook slightly, chest heavy with regret. He had built an empire, but it felt hollow. A flashback hit him, Emily cradling a sick Ethan in her arms, whispering prayers through tears, fighting to survive without him. Daniel had been nowhere. The memory sharpened his guilt. He had abandoned not just a woman, but a child. His own blood. He felt the weight of it pressing down on his shoulders like an immovable stone. Foreshadowing whispered in his mind, if he wanted a second chance, it would not be granted easily. Emily had rebuilt herself. She had survived. She had chosen her own path. And yet, something in her eyes, when she had glanced back that day, had been fleetingly soft, a subtle invitation, or perhaps a test. Daniel stood abruptly, nearly knocking over a passerby. His thoughts raced. He needed answers. He needed closure. And deep down, he knew he wanted more, not out of pride, but out of desperation to reclaim the family he had thrown away. He remembered another flashback. Sharper this time, the hospital night when he had learned about the baby. The fear that had gripped him, the cowardice that made him leave. That night had defined him, and now, years later, it was defining him again. He whispered to himself, I have to see him. Ethan, I have to see my son. At that moment, a soft, familiar voice called from behind. Daniel. He turned sharply. His heart thumped violently. There she was, Emily. Not in tears, not pleading, not begging. Standing tall, confident, the diamond ring gleaming in the sunlight, her eyes calm yet unreadable. I didn't think you'd come back, she said. I need to explain. Emily shook her head slightly, a faint smile touching her lips. Some things don't need explaining. Some things need changing. The subtle foreshadowing hung in the air. Change would not be easy. Trust would not be given. And Daniel knew, in the depths of his soul, that the path ahead would test every ounce of his character. He swallowed hard. I want to make it right. With you, and with Ethan. Her eyes softened just enough to keep him guessing. Then you better prove it, she said. And with that, she turned, walking toward the black SUV waiting silently. Like a guardian of the life Daniel had lost, Daniel watched the black SUV glide smoothly away. Emily's figure framed perfectly against the sunlight, her posture elegant yet unyielding. The diamond on her finger caught the light, a symbol of everything he had lost, not wealth, not status, but trust, love, and a family he had abandoned. He sank onto a nearby bench, his thoughts spinning. He remembered the day he walked away, his hands shaking as he left the apartment. Emily had been standing there, clutching a small bundle of clothes. I can't do this without you, she whispered. But he had been too weak, too scared to take responsibility. He had wanted freedom, but it had cost him her, and now, it was costing him his dignity. Daniel's phone buzzed again. He almost ignored it, but curiosity overpowered him. A text message, we'll talk when you're ready to be honest with yourself. No sender. He felt a chill. Emily, surely, it was her. She had always known how to strike at the heart of him. Foreshadowing whispered through the words. She wasn't closing the door entirely, but the key to unlocking the future rested on his willingness to confront his own failures. A memory surfaced sharply. Emily in the tiny hospital room, rocking Ethan to sleep. Her face pale, eyes red from exhaustion. She had whispered, "He will survive, with or without you." Daniel had never realized then how strong she was. Now, that strength shone through every deliberate movement, every calm gesture. He stood abruptly, pacing, desperate to bridge the gap between past and present. Every fiber of his being screamed for redemption, for a chance to reclaim even a fraction of what he had thrown away. But he knew instinctively it wouldn't be easy. Trust, once broken, could not be rebuilt with words alone. Vanessa's mocking voice echoed faintly in his mind. "You can't fix what you lost." She had been right in one sense. He couldn't fix the past, but he could fight for the future, if Emily allowed it. He remembered the night Ethan had been sick, when Emily had carried him through rain to the hospital. Exhausted, determined. Daniel had been elsewhere, oblivious, chasing deals and appearances. The memory stabbed him like a knife. That child had grown in her arms, under her care, loved and protected by someone else while he had been absent, and yet a spark of hope remained. He recalled Emily's fleeting glance at him that morning, just before she entered the SUV. Not contemptuous, not angry, soft, almost inquisitive. Could he be different now? Could he truly change? He clenched his fists. "I will prove it," he muttered to himself. "I will be worthy. If she lets me." The fountain nearby glimmered in the afternoon sun. Daniel stared at his reflection. The man looking back at him was not the man who had walked away years ago. He had wealth, status, and experience. But most importantly, he now had understanding. Understanding of what it meant to lose the only woman he had ever loved, and the child he had never fought for. A distant honk drew his gaze. The SUV was returning, sliding into the mall's parking area smoothly. Emily stepped out, Ethan holding her hand. Mr. Carter followed closely, his expression calm but watchful. Daniel's heart pounded. Everything depended on this next moment. The decisions he made now could either redeem him or seal his fate. Emily's eyes met his from across the lot. There was a question in them, and spoken. "Are you the man you claim to be, or the coward you left behind?" The tension hung thick in the air, heavy with anticipation. Daniel swallowed, knowing that everything, his past mistakes, his pride, his chance for redemption, converged at that single, electric point. Daniel took a deep breath, every heartbeat echoing like a drum in his chest. Emily stood across the parking lot, Ethan clinging to her hand, Mr. Carter just behind, his presence calm, commanding, almost protective. Daniel felt the weight of the years crush him, the years he had spent chasing money while leaving love and family behind. Emily's eyes met his, steady and unwavering. No anger, no pleading, just clarity. "This is your moment," they seemed to say. "Show me who you really are." He took a step forward, then another, each movement deliberate. He remembered the apartment, a cold, cramped, with peeling wallpaper. He remembered the nights she had stayed awake praying for him to come home, praying for their child to survive, praying for a life he had abandoned. Every memory stabbed at him with the precision of a dagger. "Emily," he called, his voice trembling slightly. She didn't flinch. She just waited, calm, patient, as if testing him. I know I don't deserve this," he continued, swallowing the lump in his throat. "I know I walked away when you needed me most. I wasn't a man. I wasn't a father. I wasn't anything you deserved. But I've changed. I want to prove I can be there for you. For Ethan. For us." Emily's lips pressed into a thin line. Ethan looked up at her, sensing the tension. "Mommy." She knelt, pulling him close. "It's okay, baby. Everything's okay." Then she looked back at Daniel, her gaze sharp, searching. "Words aren't enough. Actions are. You have one chance." Daniel nodded quickly, determination flooding him. "I'll do whatever it takes. I'll make it right. I promise." Flashbacks surged, Emily holding Ethan as a newborn, facing hospital bills she couldn't pay, the nights she slept with an empty stomach, and the days she worked tirelessly to provide for her son. The memory of Mr. Carter stepping in years ago, offering support without expectation, without judgment, played behind her calm expression now. He had built her world, but she had built herself. Emily stood fully now, Ethan clutching her hand, and took a deep breath. "You left us. But if you're serious, we'll see. Actions speak louder than words. You need to prove it every single day." Daniel swallowed hard. "I will. I swear I will." Mr. Carter stepped forward, placing a hand gently on Emily's shoulder. His eyes met Daniel's, sharp, steady, assessing. Your words mean little without consistency. If you fail, she moves forward. Do not mistake this for leniency. Daniel nodded again, a fire igniting inside him. I understand. Ethan tugged at Emily's hand. Mummy, can he play with me? Emily studied Daniel closely, measuring. Then she finally smiled softly. We'll see, but you start small. Show him you're worthy of his trust. The first small step had been granted. Daniel's heart soared, but he knew the journey ahead would test him in ways he could not yet imagine. He looked at Emily, and then at Ethan, and felt something shift deep inside. Guilt transformed into purpose. Pain transformed into motivation. The man he had been, cruel, selfish, cowardly, no longer existed. Emily took Ethan's hand and walked toward the car, but she paused. Daniel, this is just the beginning. Don't disappoint me again. Daniel held her gaze, nodding firmly. I won't. I swear I won't. As they all moved toward the SUV, a sense of closure mingled with anticipation. The woman he had abandoned was now his guiding force. The son he had ignored was now his responsibility. And the man who once had everything but lost the most was ready to rebuild. Not with arrogance or money, but with humility, love, and action. The black SUV drove away slowly, Ethan laughing in the back seat, Emily smiling softly at Daniel through the window. And Daniel finally understood the truth. Wealth doesn't create happiness. Status doesn't create family. Choices do. Love does. Redemption does. And as the sun set over the city, Daniel silently vowed that this time, he would not fail. Not Emily, not Ethan, not himself.